Tēnā tātou katoa, talo falava, ni sambolibinaka. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today for our individual funding Q&A webinar. My name is Tupe Solomon-Tanoa'i, and I'm the Chief Philanthropic Officer of the Michael and Suzanne Borrin Foundation. I'll just hand over to my colleague, Ollie.
Kia ora tātou, ko Ollie tuku ingoa, hia kai mahi o e Borrin Foundation. Hello everyone, I'm Ollie. I'm the Scholarships and Engagement Associate at the Borrin Foundation. Thanks to all of you for taking the time to join us today. It's great to see you all interested in applying for this upcoming round. So we're going to start out with a PowerPoint from Tupe, which will cover an overview of the eligibility criteria for each of the awards available in this round of individual funding. After that, we'll have a Q&A session where we'll cover some frequently asked questions, as well as any that come through to us during this webinar. Please feel free to enter questions in the Q&A box and I'll feed them through to Tupe. There is also an option to ask questions anonymously should you wish to. Please note that this webinar will be recorded for those who can't attend. Sweet as.
Okay, so I'll share my screen again. Okay. So first of all, a little bit about the foundation. So we were established by our founder, the late Judge Ian Borrin, who named the foundation in honour of his parents, Michael and Suzanne. So Judge Ian was born and raised in Wellington, and he was a lawyer who felt that law could be a force for good. And when he passed away, he left a generous gift of $38 million for the profession. And this reflects his family's deep gratitude and commitment to New Zealand, his love of the law, and his conviction that law provides an essential foundation for a flourishing society. So our mission is to support legal research, education and scholarships that contributes to our vision for Aotearoa New Zealand. So we're working towards an Aotearoa that is just, inclusive, tolerant and free. And our vision is of an Aotearoa New Zealand where everyone knows and understands the role and value of the law and everyone enjoys the protection and opportunity that it provides. So the individual funding program is very important to us because it's something that Judge Ian loved to do when he was alive. And so it's different from our project funding stream. So project funding can be for teams, it can be multidisciplinary research. Individual funding, the focus is on developing an individual and investing in their potential and on growing the capacity of the profession. So we run 2 application rounds for individual funding a year. The first round opens in March, and that's for the Borrin Foundation Community Law Fellowship, the Women Leaders in Law Fellowship, and the Borrin Foundation Travel and Learning Awards. So on Monday of this week, we announced the recipients of the first round of funding. So go on over to our website in the news section, and you can see who received funding in the last round and the kinds of things that were funded. So today, we're going to go over the eligibility criteria for the Borrin Foundation Justice Fellowship, the Travel and Learning Awards, and the Borrin Foundation Ngā Pae o te Māramatanga Postgraduate Scholarship. So those are the opportunities that are being offered in this current round. And the deadline for this round is 12 p.m. on Friday, the 2nd of September, which is next Friday. So you've got one more weekend to work on your application. So I just thought I'd spend some time going through the guiding principles for individual funding. So when you submit your application, first it will be checked for eligibility, and all eligible applications will be passed on to the selection panel. And when they are assessing your applications, the guiding principles for individual funding will be something that they will be considering and taking into account. Commitment is something that we're looking at. We're aiming to invest in people who have demonstrated commitment to their relevant field and to New Zealand. Impact is also very important. We believe that investing in people can have a significant long-term practical impact. We are looking for our support to be a catalyst for change in the people that we support in the field they're in. We have a commitment to diversity, equity and inclusion. As I mentioned before, we're looking at capacity building and growing talents. We are also aiming to focus our support on people working in areas of the law that are under-resourced or underdeveloped. And another important question that the selection committee considers is the but-for question. So would our funding enable something to happen that otherwise wouldn't happen without our support? And is there a clear need for external support? So when you're writing your applications, it's really good for your applications to reflect these guiding principles. The but-for question is also a specific question in the personal statement. So that's your opportunity to tell us why you need a fellowship or an award or a scholarship to do what you're proposing to do. So the Justice Fellowship, the pool of funding available for this fellowship is $120,000. It's quite a significant sum, and it may be awarded to one fellow or split between two separate individual fellows. But in saying that, when you're preparing your budget, the budget should match the needs of what you're proposing to do. In the past, the Grants and Scholarships Committee has decided to, so last year, the committee decided to award 2 fellowships for the full amount of funding. So to be eligible, you need at least 10 years experience in law at the time of applying. You must be passionate about delivering social justice and have a lifelong commitment to justice and service. And then preference will be given to fellows who are working in underserved communities in New Zealand or in one of the Foundation's strategic areas of focus, which is the criminal justice system, family law and access to civil justice. Important point to note, there is no upper age limit. So on the website you can see how it works, what the award can be used for. So as I mentioned, it's quite a significant sum, and that is intended to allow a fellow to take some time off work, a minimum of 6 months and a maximum of 12 months to carry out the fellowship. Now that can be split up over a longer period. So for example, 2-3 month periods spent on the fellowship over a 2-year period. So that time should enable the fellow to test a hunch or pursue an inquiry or pioneer a solution to a legal issue. So I'd just like to draw your attention to the exclusions. The fellowship cannot be used for a general in-house legal position at a host organisation. It cannot be used for general legal practice. It can't be used for service delivery. It also can't be used for enrolment for degree or non-degree study at academic institutions, including dissertation research. And it can't be used for projects that are mainly concerned with issues outside of New Zealand. So the benefit to New Zealand is something that we will consider. Just in terms of the enrolment for degree or non-degree study, so this fellowship can't be used for that purpose, but there are other fellowships that can. For example, the Women Leaders in Law Fellowship, offered in the first round, can be used for academic study, as well as the Borrin Community Law Fellowship. And there's also, in this round, a specific opportunity for postgraduate study for Māori. So that's the Borrin Foundation Ngā Pae o te Māramatanga Postgraduate Scholarship. So the pool of funding available there is $80,000, which may be awarded to one scholar or split between 2. last year was the first year that we offered this scholarship, and it was awarded to two outstanding scholars, Zach Cartney and Ben Morgan. And in that instance, the committee decided to grant each of them the full amount, so they both got $80,000 each. So the purpose of this scholarship is to contribute to increasing Māori postgraduate scholarship in law. And so this is open to Māori law graduates who wish to obtain a postgraduate degree in law overseas or domestically, and in any jurisdiction. So both Zach and Ben decided to study in the States, but it can be any jurisdiction. So to be eligible, you need to be a Māori LLB graduate from a New Zealand institution. You can be in your final year of your LLB study, as long as you're intending to go straight on to postgraduate study. You need a strong academic record and a connection to Te Ao Māori, and also to demonstrate potential for Māori leadership and legal development in the profession. So funding can be used for costs like course fees, living expenses, and economy airfares. For the Travel and Learning Awards, now we invite applications in both rounds. The pool of funding available is $120,000, and 12 awards of up to $10,000 each will be available each year. So in the last round, 6 awards were made. And so this is open to all legal professionals in Aotearoa, New Zealand at all stages of their career. So there's no requirement for minimum years of experience to apply for this. And as the name suggests, the purpose of the award is to travel and learn and to bring your learnings back to Aotearoa. So we do ask in the application that you outline how you intend to share your learnings when you come back from travel. So again, preference is given to applicants working in under-resourced areas of the law or in our areas of strategic focus. So the intention is to fund travel for 2 to 8 weeks, so short courses of so short periods of time overseas. However, I just want to draw your attention to a decision that our committee made recently, which is that the award can also be used to fund travel for opportunities like unpaid internships that may span several months. For that purpose, it can be longer than 8 weeks. But it can't be used for things like airfares to go and work overseas. It has to be an unpaid internship. So the funding can be used for things like registration fees, travel and accommodation costs, including per diems. If you're going to include per diems, it's important that you just include the basis on which you've calculated the per diems, and other travel-related costs like economy class airfares. So prior academic achievement is not a prerequisite, and neither is holding a practicing certificate. And then again, there are some exclusions, so it can't be used for an academic grant. It can't be used to fund professional development that your employer has the resources to fund itself, and it can't be used for study towards academic or professional qualifications. Now, how to apply? So the application forms and everything you need are on our website. It's important to note that you have to prepare all of your paperwork first and then submit the information through our online portal. And there isn't an ability to save your application as you go. So that's why you need to prepare everything first. Each of the opportunities that I've mentioned today has its own template, which has the proposal and personal statement. altogether it should be no more than 7 pages, so 5 pages for your proposal and 2 pages for your personal statement. It's important that you stick to the page limits. For the Borrin Ngā Pae Scholarship, if you're applying for an LLM by coursework only, rather than by thesis, where the proposal asks about your planned research, explain your plan for your degree and what the focus of your study will be. So it's still important to answer all the questions, and that goes for any of the individual funding opportunities. Make sure you answer all the questions, including your plan. And if your plan involves working with others, consulting with others, stakeholders, or consulting with government, it's a good idea to talk to them before you submit your application, and just let us know in the application that you've already talked to them and their level of support. Your CV needs to be included. Again, there's a page limit, a maximum of 3 pages. We ask that you do keep to the page limit. And we also ask you to provide the details of 2 referees. We will contact them, but we also provided a template for you to request the references. It's important that they know that you're asking them to do this and that we're not the first people to tell them to request the references from them. So yeah, just ensure that you give them a heads up. And then once all your paperwork is ready, you can complete our online application and upload your proposal and CV as PDF files. And throughout the process, if you have any questions, you can feel free to contact Ollie, and you can also ask us questions now.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Tupe. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll kick off with some FAQs and then get into some of the questions from the Q&A. So to start with, if I am part of a project currently or previously funded by a Borrin Foundation grant, can I apply for one of these awards?
Yes, absolutely. So they're 2 different streams. So yeah, being included in a project doesn't discount you from applying for a fellowship.
Sweet as. How much funding can I apply for?
So as I mentioned, each of the opportunities has a certain pool of funding that is available for distribution. And what we advise is that the budget that you apply for should match the needs of your proposal. And as we've seen in the past, the committee has sometimes been more generous than the pool of funding that they have allocated and given to people the full amount that they have applied for. Although they have, said that it could be split between 2, but as what we advise is that the budget should match what you're proposing to do.
Sweet. Now, do I need to include a video as part of my application?
You don't need to, it's optional, but if you would like to do that, the option is there. If you want to provide a video, make sure it's no more than 3 minutes, and then you can use a service like YouTube or Vimeo and share the link with us.
I'll just throw in one last question, which I'll answer myself, which is, who do I contact with questions? And that would be me. So if you have any questions following this, please contact me at admin@borrinfoundation.nz. So that email address can be found at the website. Myself and Tupe, as well as our grants and operations coordinator, Jan, all have access to that email. So whoever your question may be for, we'll be sure to get an answer out to you as soon as possible. yeah, if there were no more questions to be answered now, I think that may be us for this webinar. Thank you so much for everyone who's taken the time to join in. And thanks so much, Tupe, for your PowerPoint.
Thanks for joining. We look forward to seeing your applications.